I don't know whether you can remember what you looked like. You'd have to look on LADbible, wouldn't you, to check. And to me at that time, you were at a low ebb. And to see you now, it's wonderful. No, it's serious.
No, thank you.
No, serious.
No, but the thing was...
to think you've done that through... It must be hard work you've put in at it, and you made a go of it. Oh, and plus the fact you've met other people who've helped you along the way, which is a big help, isn't it?
A lot of friends, a lot of family.
To me, you're one of our successes. And bloody hell.
Thank you.
No, I'm excited this morning to see you.
Yeah. From where we started in 2018 with LADbible, from being really nervous and doing certain podcasts and stuff like that, I started to get on top of myself a little bit and starting to get a bit better and a bit more confident to get my life back. And now I feel like I've gone back to stage one. I'm absolutely bricking it because we're back where we started. Because today I have John Dennett, Mr. John Dennett with me.
Yeah.
And after 3 years,
we're
back together talking again. And I'm absolutely shaking about this one. This is because there's a lot riding on this. I've missed you. I'm actually really happy to see you again. We've had a little chat and a coffee beforehand, but here we are again. So welcome to Veterans of Peace.
I'm delighted to see you as you are, Stevie.
You said I look more handsome.
No, I don't know whether you can remember what you looked like. You'd have to look on LADbible, wouldn't you, to check. And to me at that time, you were at a low ebb. And to see you now, it's wonderful. No, it's serious.
No, thank you.
No, serious.
No, but the thing was...
to think you've done that through... It must be hard work you've put in at it, and you made a go of it. Oh, and plus the fact you've met other people who've helped you along the way, which is a big help, isn't it?
A lot of friends, a lot of family.
To me, you're one of our successes. And bloody hell.
Thank you.
No, I'm excited this morning to see you.
Yeah, I've been edging my seat waiting for you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
spoke to you on the phone, but I wouldn't have recognised you.
No.
But
well,
now,
I walked to the coffee shop.
I'll try and remember you anyhow.
I was a bit scruffier back then.
Eh?
I was a lot scruffier back then.
No.
But for anyone that hasn't seen LADbible video or anything like that, tell us a bit about yourself, about your childhood, start from the beginning.
That's 3 years ago, isn't it?
What, your childhood?
No, bugger me. No, the LADbible 3 years ago.
3 years ago, yeah.
And to think it is, as you are now, it happened over 3 years, it proves a point.
Yeah.
It can be done with work.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't happen the same to everybody, but I think you're one of the lucky ones. And
I think so.
That's life, innit?
It is.
Yeah, nobody knows the brain these days. Anything can happen.
Anything.
And they say, oh, it's all in your mind, this sort of thing. Until it happens to them, they don't know, do they?
No, it's very unique.
To see somebody who's been through it come out of it like you, it's really wonderful, son.
Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you. So, going back, growing up, where'd you come from?
Where do I come from?
Yeah, the very start.
That's quite a good one. I'm a Yorkshire born, silly though it seems, and settled down in Somerset and brought up down there, and it was from there I joined the Navy. That was back in 1942. I was 17 at the time, and my mum said I couldn't go. My dad said it'll do him good, so he won the day, and so there I went. And I was in the Navy at 17, and I've had a good life through the Navy. We did our training, went to America to pick up a ship. I was on landing craft mainly, and it was commissioned in Philadelphia. And then after we did trials, we all gathered in New York for the convoy, and we sailed across to North Africa from there on a bouncing old boat, you know.
Really?
And from there on, went south. When the African campaign finished, we went to invaded Sicily and Salerno and then Anzio. And then in April 1944, I docked in Birkenhead, come back for D-Day.
Yeah.
And it was there that, like a sailor, when he gets in port, the first thing he looks for is a watering hole, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the next one were the birds. So that's the dance hall. So
in Birkenhead.
A couple of points, no, Wallasey.
Yeah.
And we'd had a couple of points up to the dance hall, and there was one in Seaview Road. It's not there now, but it was called the Rycroft. And I had a good night there, and that's where I met my wife. And I kept in touch during the war, and you know, and these things happen. People say, well, it's a romance that's waiting to happen, or it's just a one-night stand or something like that. But no, we corresponded. I went to D-Day, and I think it was about 3 months after D-Day, I came off the landing craft and went into barracks to take a gunnery course.
Yeah.
I got leave, and that was one way of getting off the ship. I've been away 2 years, you see.
Really?
Yeah, well, I was 1942, and this was 1944, so I was wanting to get some leave, you know.
Yeah.
And so I went in barracks and done the gunnery course, and from there I got drafted to an aircraft carrier. Well, if you've been on a landing craft with discipline, you know, you knew everybody, you get on an aircraft carrier, you don't know a soul.
That's why, because
At
so
start, it's like being on a town.
Yeah.
And they're that big, you need telling where everything is, and it's unbelievable. But it was good fun.
Yeah.
And I was on her for a while, and then I was due for demob then. So they put me in barracks for demob. And somewhere towards Christmas 45, they were short of a gunner on a minesweeper. So they sent me up there, and I was off up to South Shields.
Yeah.
And joined this minesweeper, HMS Whitehaven, and we were sweeping our own mines, of course. I was in the Irish Sea working out with Swansea, and I was on her for 4 months, and then got demobbed. And then I was still in touch with Joyce. We got married in 1947.
Brilliant.
Her dad said she was too young to get married because she was only 20 at the time, but it happened, and then life went on from there.
Did you settle in Birkenhead in
Pardon, I settled in I'm an adopted Scouser, I suppose. I don't know what you call them. I still talk with a funny accent, don't I?
Everyone asks me, where's he from? Where's he from? I go, I don't know.
You don't know. He's a foreigner, isn't he? Yeah.
From the world.
Yeah. I'm worse when I've had a couple of pints.
Yeah. Those 3 whiskies.
Yeah, why?
So did you move back down to Somerset?
We went back down south when we got married, but it was too quiet for Joyce. I went back to my old job, and I was working with my dad on the buildings, you know.
Yeah.
And we were building a holiday camp in Burnham-on-Sea, and it's quiet down there on the river. And Joyce just couldn't stand it. Her mum had a shop, you see, and she knew everybody.
Yeah.
And
like a community.
So after about 3 weeks, I said to my dad, I'm going to have to spew this. And anyhow, we said, you do what you think fit. And anyhow, we got a wagon with a box on, and away we come back up to Wallasey, and I had to start a new life in regards building, you know.
Did you carry on building?
I worked for Thornton's for a while, and then her granddad had a business. She got me a job there, and that's where I more or less stayed the rest of my life. But no, I've been very lucky, and we had a good life, and but for the war, you know, it would never have happened, would it?
No, it wouldn't.
And there was some good that come out of the war as far as I'm concerned.
How do you feel about the war?
Pardon?
How do you feel about the war that you were in now?
It took me till 1973 to think a bit. Well, I used to go abroad, and I used to, like the Krauts, as I call them.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it within me to forgive them.
Right.
And we come back through Germany on one of our holidays, and it was so nice. Everybody was so bloody friendly.
Yeah.
And it changed my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it did. They were only like us, you see, weren't they? They were doing what they were told.
Yeah.
And there's good uns and bad uns, all the Holocaust and all that lot.
Yeah.
They're a different type of person.
Yeah.
They weren't fighting the war. They were just doing orders and killing people, weren't they? And
Doing what
but
they're
the
told,
soldiers, they were like our lads, called up, do your duty.
That's it.
And they looked like us. They're just the same. You couldn't tell a German from an Englishman, could you? Not stood alongside him.
Well, that's like with my wars.
Yeah.
Is like I never had hate for them. I was going out to fight an enemy.
Yeah.
But with my wars, it was insurgents. It was
You
terrorists.
didn't know who you were fighting, son, did you?
No.
That's the difference between the two wars. We were, well, if you're going that way, you win, and if you're going that way, you weren't. But with you, they were surrounding you wherever you were on a hiding to nothing.
Well, they all wore the same clothes.
Pardon?
They all wore the same clothes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no uniforms. There's no types of this or types of that. It was always, they looked the same. They popped up somewhere, take some shots, move away. So it was, we're always on our toes all the time on the ground. Do you know what I mean? I think that's why it has such a massive effect on the lads, because it was under constant pressure all the time. Like,
well, you were like,
you know what I mean?
well, they started Basra, didn't it? And then they went on to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Like, I think back at the time they were in Basra, it's a pity they hadn't gone further on and got shot at the fella who was, they let him get away, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
And then they went in, it's mixed up war.
Every war changes, doesn't it?
Oh,
every war changes,
yeah,
but it still has.
And they still going to have wars, worse.
Yeah, of course.
It's either religion or some politician
There's always
got
something,
a big head.
But the thing is every war is different. But what I've learned is that the after effects are very similar.
Yeah.
So one extreme or to, to the other. So like, even when you left the forces, you still had that element there.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you used to think about it, but you were glad you were outputted. You were back home, so to speak. You know.
Did you ever think back about, because obviously you were gunning planes, you know what I mean? You were fighting aircraft.
Oh,
and stuff
I
like
often think of the squeaky moments, you know, like
squeaky moments.
No, well, you don't dwell on them. Like,
no.
You know yourself. You see dead men, and it's not a nice thing to see, is it?
No.
And I think about it, but I don't like talking about it because.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to talk about it.
Well, possibly, yeah.
But sometimes.
But it was somebody's son who was there hooking out the bloody water.
Yeah. Well,
and being at my age at the time, I don't think it sunk in at that time.
Yeah, it's
and now
sort
I
of like
think of it.
Happened and it's gone.
Yeah, a couple of Marines in a boat going along the shore, fishing the bodies into the boat, you know. Yeah. And you're looking at it, but you were paying attention to what was going on.
Yeah.
I think of it now, it sounds cruel, but that's how it was.
But the thing is, you've got to do what gets you
at
through
the
it.
Time.
At the
time.
At the time. At the time when you're given a task.
Yeah.
It's like anything in life. You get given a task, and with being military, you do it.
Well, that's it.
I mean, and you worry about the effects later on.
You have to obey it.
So you got lads like us that have had to do a job, and later on, it could be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line, then you start to go, okay. You start to sort of put it in order, and that's where some lads, they can't cope with that mechanism, you know what I mean?
Different people react differently, don't they? Well, it wouldn't be a world if he didn't.
No.
Couldn't all be the same, could we?
Yeah, that's it.
And there's some people who just doesn't worry them a heap.
That's it. But it's what we do and move forward to do that makes the difference.
You try to do your best, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
That's the way. And you get the odd body, he's a bit slow catching on, but
Yeah.
and people make fun of them, but they shouldn't do, should they?
I think that what makes it a unit, what makes it family.
But that's where the friendship comes in.
The
So
banter and
like being on a small boat like the landing craft, the friendship, like 2 years, you know yourself, you've got the same crew,
yeah,
and the
Your family.
officers, you get used to
yeah,
being, you know.
definitely. It's family, isn't it?
And it's like a family, because your life depends on your mates as well.
Vice versa. Yeah.
And
yeah.
so you've got to sort of mix it, haven't you? And I think
definitely.
the officers realise that, and that's why, you know, it was a good life. I'm glad I served, I'll be honest with you. But I am lucky.
You're very lucky.
I've dodged most things, and this pandemic with a bit of luck, the way it's going on.
Past that as well. You know what I mean,
Yeah.
you'll be here forever.
Well, it probably is worse luck.
But now, when you left, you went on, obviously, with your wife and that. You went on to start your life and all that. You went into football.
Oh yeah, well, no,
Was it 1949?
she had a young brother who, because after the war, like the kids didn't have a lot to do, and her young brother, he had a bit of a street team going. That's what they used to do in them days.
Yeah.
And he said, "Do you think I would start a football team so they can get into the youth league?" Which that was the only thing going at the time, you know. And so Joyce and me had to become youth leaders, and me, a sailor, never been a youth leader. And I've got the letter at home, the original letter.
Really?
And we applied and we were accepted, went through a few questions and answers, so to speak. And we got in the youth league in 1950. And from then on, the team graduated to what we are today. And that's 70 odd years ago, isn't it?
And what's the team?
Yeah, it's a long time.
What's the team called?
And I live at the football club now, you see.
Yeah, I was saying you there.
Yeah, well, through the years.
Is it Ashfield?
Ashfield, yeah, over the water,
yeah.
Through the years, we've won every cup there is to win. And we have good years and bad years. We're not so good this year with the pandemic, you know. But they're hoping to progress in the next league up.
Yeah.
That's the North and West counties, you know.
Because you raise loads of money as well for them, haven't
Well,
you?
that's the problem. We've had no revenue hardly with the lockdown, and the idea was good. The lockdown come at the wrong time, because that's going back, 14 months, something like that.
Yeah. Was it March last
well,
year?
the plans that we are doing now started then, but they've had to sort of slow down. But we'll survive. But no, the football's been my life, really. And Joyce died in 1992, and I buried my head in the football. I'm like you, I was at the low then, but the football got me out of that.
That what pulled you through it,
And I buried my head in it, and I'm glad I did.
Just surround yourself
I'm old John now, you see, to them. And there's grandkids playing for us of the players who were there, you know.
So you see the generations grow up?
The families from the early days, their grandkids are playing for us now, and it's fun, really.
That's nice.
They have a habit of tormenting me, you know. They know. But it has got me through life, and it's worked both ways.
Yeah.
I've done well for them, and they've done well for me.
It's having that focus, isn't it?
Pardon?
It's having that focus when you go through a bad patch in your life.
Yeah.
If you don't look forward, grab something.
If you're getting that way, you sit down and think about the good days and try and get yourself straightened out again. That's what I do. I have a lot of days where, you know, it's a bit under the weather thinking, and then you think,
I think that's natural.
Why you like that? I think of the good days, you know, and
that's it.
And that's the way you've got to perform, Stevie.
Yeah.
No, it's.
But like before I met you in 2018, I was in a really low place, a really dark place. I had my family, so that side of my life was very positive, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in my head, the darkness was there, and I was reliving everything all the time, and I really struggled. So when we had our chat, I think it was 11 minutes, the video.
Was it?
On LADbible, it was 11-minute video, but I think we were there for like 2 hours.
I've got it on my Google at home.
I know, you got Google now, haven't you?
It's very good. Now, there's a thing. When you're feeling blue, hey Google, play the LADbible. I talk to you. And,
So-
I think, well.
So those 30 million views are just from you, are they? Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's been a good thing, that.
Yeah.
Like,
It's helped
I
a lot of
hadn't
people.
seen you from Adam
Yeah.
before, and I could see you were struggling, but yeah, looking at you now, you're doing 100%, aren't you?
Well, that's it. After I met you and listened to your story, it made me realise that there was other people in the world that
In the
had been
same
through
boat,
it,
yeah,
in the
yeah.
Same, in the same boat, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was
It
like,
made me realise that, there were people who really struggled, and you're reading the paper every day about it,
yeah,
and
that's it.
but having met somebody who's going through it and then seeing them recover is smashing, it is honest.
I think that's what the moral of the story is to realise that you're not the only one. We're all unique, one way or another.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're not unique when it comes down to
Yeah.
mental health. We are in the same boat, in a similar boat.
Yeah.
Whether what extreme it is, everyone's in the same boat, and everyone needs that support or
Yeah.
that person to talk to. And speaking to you was that kick up the arse, if you like,
Yeah.
that put me onto a different path, and
Yeah.
started doing more speaking out and talking to more people. And I did the most toughest thing I could ever do, and that was talking to people. I really struggled socially after the fighting, after the war. I couldn't deal with people, because every time I spoke to a person, I seen something that I'd done, which to me was wrong. You know what I mean? And it
But
took
you've
me
had the strength to do that, haven't you?
from speaking to you.
And
you know what I mean?
I know, for me.
Yeah, honestly, it was. Because then what I did was, speaking to people was really tough for me, and it still is. So what I had to do was, I had to put myself in the toughest situation possible. I had to step outside my comfort zone. I had to be a soldier again and think like a soldier and step outside my comfort zone. And I started doing podcasts and interviewing people. And it was the most toughest thing, and it still is tough for me now. But it's given me, once we finish that show, I get that sense of strength back.
Yeah.
I get a bit of me back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's something that over time, over the past year, is strengthening me more and
Do
more
you
and
still
more.
think back on Afghanistan and
Every
all
day.
that? Yeah.
Every day.
Every day, yeah.
Sometimes positive now, sometimes. Obviously, there's a
Yeah.
lot of negativity there with it. Even when the sun comes out and I get that feel of heat, I get that feeling.
Yeah.
But then I think,
That's a time when you got to be strong, and
yeah, well, I have my coping mechanisms now. So the heat comes out and the sun comes out, and I get that smell. But then it's like, I think about my daughter running around the garden, and it cancels that out straight away. You know what I mean? I get like, even when like I think about like certain smells of food and stuff like that, or certain like words that are spoken, I change it to something positive.
there
you
must
know
be
what I mean?
little things that remind you of it all the bloody time.
It's
I
tough,
suppose.
like, but as well as at the moment, that makes it really tough are the amounts of suicides that we're having, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, and within the forces, you know what I mean. We've had 2 this week alone.
Have you?
So with that, it rocks you to the
That
core.
must take you.
It sends you back again, you know what I mean.
Yeah, it does. I'm going to say that.
But because I've come so far with my path and what I've learned from yourself,
You're able to shake it off.
I need to shake it off,
You
but at
can-
the same time, I need to remember how many people are actually watching. Because, like you said, I am a success story. And for me to rock and go back down again
Yeah.
will show people that it's...
As an example of what
I
can
need to-
happen.
I need to lead by
Yeah,
example.
no, well,
so I
that's-
need to
that's
stay
good,
on
that.
that
That's
plateau, you know what I
good,
mean?
that,
So I think what after the past year we've had, and it's been a bit rocky and there's been ups and downs, that's why I needed to speak to you again. I needed to bring you back on again, and I needed to meet you again. Not just for myself to speak to
No,
you, but
well,
also
I'm
to,
always glad to talk to you, son. And
but that's
if
it.
we can help people on the way,
That's it.
that's
That's
life, innit?
But you give me that boost
Good.
to go, right, okay, that's where I
I'll
started.
stick my chest
And-
out then.
And that's where I started, and this is where I am now.
Yeah,
so
good
let's
lad.
keep going forward.
Yeah.
So I'll have you on another 10
You're a
years.
good example of,
Another 3 years, you come on again.
by all means, that'd be a bloody 100 then.
You can do it as your anniversary.
Oh dear.
Imagine it. You're 97 July?
Yeah, in July
In July, yeah.
97, yeah.
Yeah,
And we're away that weekend on a reunion, so
yeah.
looks like the drinks will be on me that bloody
Oh, yeah. Get your
weekend.
hand in your pocket.
Yeah. And go around with the act.
It's mad to think, because it's like people on LADbible on the comments, when people were messaging and stuff, were saying those two got on so well. Like me and you got on so well.
The way they did it with those questions,
Yeah.
whoever thought that out, that's a good way.
Clever, very clever.
And we were able to talk, because you know yourself, like we're talking without questions now, but we were able to pick it up and have a look.
Yeah, yeah.
And
yeah.
it,
You
no,
just throw them behind like that.
don't want to hear that one yet.
No.
I'm not answering that one.
Yeah,
No, it's very good.
yeah. But that's the thing. It's like from that to now,
Yeah,
and we're living proof that we're going forward and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and keep going. But yeah, it's mad to think that, like, how much a person can come along
yeah.
through
Well,
resilience.
like you say, and it's nice to document it, innit?
Yeah, definitely.
To show
definitely.
what has happened.
That's it. It's
'Cause I should imagine when you look at the LADbible and look at yourself now, you must think, bloody hell.
what was I wearing?
Yeah? No, it's, like, words fail me for the, honest.
But like I was saying, people were saying, oh, John and Steve get on so well, and it was like they already knew each other and that, but we never met each other beforehand.
No.
They put you on stage
It
and
was
then
only
brought me
Peter
in.
and you were talking in the corner.
Yeah.
And I suppose he was talking about Afghanistan to you.
Yeah. And then they brought me in. But the thing is that when I sat down, as soon as I laid eyes on you and I seen your medals, and it took me back to my younger days.
Yeah.
Because when I was a lad, I used to go around to my great uncle Ernie, who's my granddad's brother, who's also in Normandy. I used to go around to his, and he was a smoker. He smoked 30, 40 a day. You know what I mean? It was, and he'd sit there and he'd tell me the stories, and I think I was one of the only people he really opened up to a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that sort of driven me to go, okay, military. You know what I mean? It's like, and I seen the way he was, and I seen his medals and stuff like that, and that sort of gone, right, okay. So when I went into the military, I went into the army. I was deployed to Belize for exercise, and that's when he passed away.
Yeah.
So when I come back, I was a bit of, not a loss, but I was like, oh, well, he was sort of my, like, not mentor, but he was like the person that I was looking forward to running back to and go, listen, look what I've done, you know what I mean? So when I met you, it was like a flicker of him.
He brought it back to you.
Yeah, so when I sat down,
enough.
I sat there and I was excited to tell you and tell you what I've been doing and tell you what I've been doing and where I've been, and so it was sort of like, it sort of sealed the lid for me in a way for that area, you know what I mean? So that was another thank you that I need to give you. Sort me out there, like, but getting all emotional about that now, like, but yeah, that you helped me out a lot.
There is quite an age gap, isn't there, when you look at it?
Between us? Don't know. I think I've gone younger now, you say. You know what I mean? I think I was in my 50s.
You look a lot younger when you know
I've had a shave for
them
you.
3 years haven't bloody put.
Shaved it off me. Yeah, I've had a shave for you. I mean, put a tie on for you.
And good, you look well in that tie.
Nice tie.
Yeah.
Nice tie. It's a lot of stories with the regiments and stuff like that. But
it's nice to talk, isn't it?
it is, and that's the message I'm trying to get out. It's I need the lads and I need the girls to talk. I need to get a message out there to say, listen, it doesn't matter how little you think the problem is or how big you think it is or what you think that people will think. It doesn't matter. You need to talk. I mean, if you talk, even if it's just a mutter or a little couple of words, people can listen to it, and then people can go off that and they can help. You know what I mean?
I think the older generation do listen a bit more to your generation about the war, because it's brought it home to them that it was a waste of time and life, your war, really. At least we fought for freedom.
Yeah.
You were fighting well, I don't know what you fought for, really. Because some politician said you have to bloody go there.
The thing with me is when I went to Iraq, after I joined, I was going out there to fight for my country and my queen, and my
fighting for your
family
country,
and stuff like that.
that.
But then after being there for a few weeks, I realised very quickly what was going on.
Yeah.
I didn't speak up. I kept fighting because, for one, my platoon, my company, my regiment, it was under fire. So I'll fight with them and protect them. You know what I mean? By the time I got to Afghanistan, I was a corporal. I had a team, like I've mentioned previous. I had a team. I had a platoon. I had sections. They were my brothers. They still are. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter what the reason was for fighting was. I was gonna go down swinging. I was gonna go down fighting.
Oh yeah.
For them. You know what I mean? That was my reason for being there.
Well.
You know what I mean? So when I come back home, I left the military. Those brothers will always be my brothers, but I didn't have those brothers to fight and die for anymore. They'd all left the nest and grown up. They're brilliant fighters, they were brilliant men. You know what I mean? They've all gone on to do their own thing now and conquer life. So now it was with me at that stage, I was like a bit of a loose end because I didn't have them to keep me fighting, you know what I mean? So I sort of lost my reason to fight. And not just in combat, but in life itself, you know what I mean? So I sort of took a step back and gone, well, who am I? What am I here for? And that's when I went down my dark route.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like with our war. If I put it down to the winning the battle in the air in 1941, when that turned the tide for England, and that gave us something to fight for. Like we'd have been Jerry's, wouldn't we, or whatever? And so when they won the Battle of Britain.
Yeah.
I think that was when we started fight back, and I think everybody at that time felt they had to do it. And
was there a sense of pride there?
Oh, I think so. Like
for your country or for
your like you were thinking, well, we don't want to be Jerry's, you know. And we proved it in the end. Not me personally, but the way the war went. They sort of swept through Europe and that, didn't they? And
took off then.
And it's now you think, well, I'm proud to have fought in it, because you think I watched the Holocaust and all that, and I think, good grief, you know.
Yeah.
And Holland, we're going to Arnhem with the paratroopers, and you see the effects of our war then, and they appreciate it, don't they?
Yeah.
And that makes you feel good that you were part and parcel of cleaning them out and giving them their freedom.
Yeah, that's
and,
it.
Like, I've had freedom, and like freedom is a wonderful thing, you know, isn't it? Like, there's nothing better than freedom.
I'm starting to learn freedom more now.
Yeah, we've never really been under the cosh, only in the early wars way back. But no, we're lucky with the freedom we've got.
Yeah.
And that's why I always feel, proud to have done a little bit towards it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I say, your war, I don't know what they were fighting it for, because they've always been fighting out there for something. And but
the thing is that the one
I don't really know how your war started, or why it started.
It's I won't go, I'm not going to go into that because it's very political. You mean?
It'll be in a history book somewhere.
We'll end up sitting here getting angry about it and stuff like that. But it's the good thing that come from my service was the brotherhood. It was the brother in arms.
Comradeship is a wonderful thing.
We're all very distant now with our lives and our families and our businesses and what's going on and stuff like that. But what I've noticed is that when we have a brother fall through suicide or through hard times or through death or whatever, the glue is very stretchy, if that makes sense. We're all going our different ways and our different around the world and whatever, but as soon as we have that one brother that's fallen in some way or another, the glue sort of brings us all back in together, no matter where we are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we all come back in. We lost a good friend, Andy, on Sunday, and there's people coming out the woodwork that I haven't spoken to for 10 years. You know what I mean? And they've just they're messaging me.
That's when it brings you back to your work.
And I spoke to a few lads. Yeah, well, that's it. I spoke to a few lads this week that I haven't spoken to for 12 years. And literally, as soon as I pick up the phone, boom, straight into it, taking the mick out of each other, chatting away and all that. You know what I mean? And it's like we've took off where we left off. You know what I mean? It's nice. It's really nice, and that's something that I'll always be thankful for. You know what I mean? Because that's something that I know I've got my family there. I've got my missus, my baby, but I've also got my extended family there, and they'll be with me to the grave. You know what I mean? So that's something I am very, very, very thankful for. The problem isn't within the regiment or within the army. The problem is it's within the government. You know what I mean? That's where we need to take it high, and that's where start. That's where people need to start.
Do you ever go to the Arboretum?
No.
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 That's where the Basra Wall is, and it's worth a visit.
Yeah.
It might upset you, I never thought of that.
But the thing is,
But
if
every regiment, everybody got a memorial there, you know, and it's a wonderful place. But like you say, it would probably bring back memories that you don't want to see.
well, like, maybe I might need them.
Yeah, well, the example was Peter came there with me, and he was the only survivor out of 6, and his 5 mates' names are on there, and he was looking for it, and he was glad to see it. And then after that, you could see the depression set in.
Yeah, that's it.
But you know, anyhow.
Well, that's
on a better note.
On a better note, but yeah, you're not going to Normandy this year. You're going Plymouth.
Well, I'm down to go, but I don't know whether France. So they've gone back on the red list, I think, haven't they?
So you're going Plymouth.
We're down to go in September, but this coming weekend I'm going down to Portsmouth.
Portsmouth. Yeah.
There's 5 veterans going on a landing craft, and they're going to land us on the beach down there, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Hope it goes as well. As long as the Marines aren't doing
it. I don't think we won't be as active as we were.
What are you going on, are you?
Oh, it's 5 veterans been sorted out.
So you're going to be jumping onto the beach, are you?
Well, I'm going, I won't be jumping on it.
We're saying that you ran up here, like... You jumped up here, didn't you?
I won't bloody run up either, I don't think. But, no, it's something to look forward to, you know. Like,
that's it.
I like going back to where I've fought, you know. I've been all around everywhere, you know, North Africa and Sicily. Not recently, in a few years ago, you know, when I was able to travel and visit some of the graveyards and what have you.
Did it give you did it help you, do you think?
Pardon?
Did it help you?
Yeah, you get a grant to take you, like, I'm in the Italy Star, and I think they give you 800 quid towards the trip, and the trip costs about 1100, but this is, you know, for 300 quid you're seeing all the places you were during the war, and see, I'm glad I wasn't a soldier when I go on them trips, because bloody hell, you know, some of the, casino is a good example of that, you know. I wouldn't like to have been charging up there to that place.
No.
And no, I'm glad I stayed a sailor. I don't think I'd have been able to be a soldier.
We all have our jobs to do, don't we?
That's it.
And that's the thing with our jobs to do
you
now.
Don't get no rum in this being a soldier, do you?
The what?
Don't get no rum being a soldier.
I know,
we had a rum ration.
Really?
Oh, every day, 11 o'clock, up spirits, tot of rum. Didn't you know?
No, I joined the wrong mob.
And they stopped it recently, you know.
Really?
Well, I say recently, probably 15 years ago.
I love me rum, I love rum.
But,
Brilliant.
I don't know if that's what gave you the courage to carry on.
Maybe, yeah, that's it. Keep you going.
They baffled you with science, didn't they?
That's it. But like you said, we all got a job to do, and even now more so.
Well, that's life, innit?
Because you do a lot of talks and stuff, don't you? And you talk to a lot of people.
If I can help out anywhere, you know, it's only real that you should do.
Yeah.
You're lucky enough to do it, isn't it?
Well, that's it. Some of us were lucky enough to still be here.
Yeah.
I want to use that luckiness to help more and do more talking and
That's
do
a
some
good
more
way in life,
supporting
that,
and
isn't it?
get people talking and getting around things.
Yeah.
So if we keep doing what we're doing,
Yep.
keep marching forward, keep talking,
Keep talking.
we'll be all right.
What do you say?
Eh?
What do you say?
But John,
Oh, dear.
it's been an absolute pleasure to see you again.
Yeah, oh,
And I'll come and see you in
it
July.
is nice. Yeah,
Come
by
see you
all
in July.
means.
And
Yeah.
we'll have
Yeah.
a rum.
Good lad.
Yeah. Thank you, John, for coming up
Thank
again.
you,
Thank you so
Stevie.
much.
Bloody pleasure, son. I don't know. I.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
No.
Thank you. All the best, mate.
No.
Cheers, everyone. Nice one, mate.
One of the success stories in life, and that's good.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
That is good, that son. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, well.
Stuck in the past, you told me. But all I ever wanted was a home. So where do you leave? Where do you go? Would you just stay if I came home? We could go for a drive, figure it out, calm your fears and drown your doubt. But I gotta know